conversation is very special to us. It's very special because, number one, do you know, even just getting female student presidents was such a huge challenge. Just calling institutions. You call this institution, it's a man. You call another institution, it's a man. You call another union, student associations, it's a man, it's a man, it's a man. And why is that a concern to us? It's a concern to us because we know the power of student governments and the relationship between student governments and national politics. And we've seen even majority of our household names in this country, you name them, the top household names, of course, they're also men. We've seen they began their journey from the student government. But then many young women are not transitioning like the men are, right? So we're talking about young women in this country representing less than 1% of elected officials. That is in our national politics. Less than 1%. You can imagine, right? In 2022, we had about 4,500 young people run for office. 4,500. Can someone guess how many young women were elected out of that number? Can someone guess? We had about 4,508 young people run for office in 2022. Can someone guess how many young women were elected? Not nominated, elected. Someone from behind? How many? 200. Another one? How many young women do you think got elected in the last election? 100. This table? How many young women do you think got elected? 100. This table? How many young women do you think got elected in the last election? Elected, not nominated. Elected. Imagine it's 20 out of the 4,508. Only 20 young women. That is data from IBC. So only 14 young women were elected under the MCA category. And we have how many seats for MCA in this country? 1,450 seats. 1,450 seats. Only 14. And then we have the rest spread across MP and women rep. And this underrepresentation is even more severe when you talk about student governments and student presidents in this country. And I think for us at Badili Africa, we're just passionate about nurturing that pipeline. That is why we convened this meeting. Number one, to celebrate your journey, right? Number two, to keep on fueling your leadership ambition, because unaweza, right? Because we believe in you, right? So that is why you're here today.
I really love what Badili Africa is doing, and we've already discussed with Bina how I can support more of what she's doing through this platform. And for me, what stands out about Badili Africa and the leadership is the courage. So speaking about young women in politics, I have never run for political office, even in school. The only thing I can say I did, I was at Daystar University, and I'm glad our Deputy President is here of Daystar. Congratulations. So I'm so glad that that then young women are getting into this space, because at that time, I remember I just served under our Secretary General in the events committee, so served in that leadership capacity, but I had never run for office. I didn't run for office, and I've never run for office because for me, I've always viewed politics from a third party perspective. I see the ugly side of it, I see the good side of it, because I've been in a political family all my life. People ask me, oh, how is it? Okay, it started with, how is it to be an MP's daughter? How is it to be a deputy president's daughter? Now, how is it to be a president's daughter? So because of my experience for the past 25 plus years of seeing how politics is, then it has never been something that is really that attractive to me, because I'm like, well, that's crazy. So then to see young women here who have stood and vied, even just chatting with Casti before we started the session, seeing that, for me, that's a whole load of bravery. It's another level. So you should appreciate yourselves for that, even just running within your various institutions. That's a whole level of courage and bravery, and congratulations on that. I'm reading Wangari Maathai's book, Unbowed, and for me, she's one of the greatest women leaders within the political arena. And I love that Badili is looking to encourage the move from, because we see our men do it, including my father. They were student leaders in university and then they transitioned into national office. So why not the same for the young women who are in our universities? And as we continue to build this force, within the next 10, 15, 20 years, we'll then remove this notion that women don't vote for women or women don't support women. Those are narratives we need to begin to change as early as now. We don't have to wait for 2026 when now the political atmosphere is so ripe and tense for us to be able to do those things.
This year, like just a month ago, after I decided that I'm going to vie again for presidency, the threats started. Like, I'm called by people outside my university and they say that please be careful how you walk, who you're with at certain points, because there are certain plans. So it's not a trauma that has even gone. Even right now, I have to be very careful. What time do I leave school? Whom do I live with? I make sure that if I'm not with people, like, I leave when there are people around me, and I must leave with an Uber because, of course, I don't have a car currently. So it's of course expensive and it's still traumatizing to me because I don't know. We are just several weeks towards like the real thing. It's going to get worse, and there are still those threats.
I had a desire to vie for the vice chair or the vice president students association, na nikasimama nikaenda nikapiga picha mzuri sana, na nilikuwa naonekana katoto tu hodari. And kawaida male comrades wanasema wanatafuta sura pale kwa vice chair. So kitu ya kwanza nilipiga picha mzuri. So, and I didn't have money, and it's quite unfortunate. Even at the university level, siasa is monetized. Lazima utumie kakiru. So one thing I learned with politics, even at the university level, you have to be humble to be loved with by the students. So it is the same thing that I met at the ground level, hapa kwa national politics. I would go sit with akina mama, nafunga leso na keti na wao hapo mashinani. So I got some tips from the university. So you have to be humble bana. Mimi ni kama nyinyi, kwa siasa ndivyo inakuaga.
So first of all, as young women, we're at the bottom of the totem pole in this country. If you're dark skinned, you're even more bottom. We're the only group in this society that is told what to do, what to wear, when to get married, when to start a family, where they're allowed to work, where they're allowed to speak. And we keep being squeezed into this category of women and youth. Now, youth are 75% of the country, 70 to 75. Women are about 51%. So in every category, we are the majority. But we keep being spoken about like we're marginalized, like we're fewer. And for me, the only thing that we are not doing correctly is organizing. Because we see the opportunities and there's so few, so we're competing for them, whereas we should be organizing for them. As a woman in politics, the first thing you're doing is persuasion. And we are so smart. We see through it. So you must be authentic. Don't go dressed like because so-and-so should look like this, or don't go start talking because this one speaks like that. It's that thing in you is what makes people vote for you and keep voting for you. Who are you? Don't get into an elective position and you disappear from the ground. Don't come back in a Mercedes or whatever it is and you're not talking to the people how you used to talk. You have to remain true to yourself. Remember your day ones, remember what where you came from.
You must also know, when do you keep quiet? When do you talk? And what do you say? Who do you interact with? Be intentional about the people you meet. If you need something from them, always, number one, start with what you can do for them. It is a skill that really works miracles. If you need something from Badili Africa, and maybe it's a job that you need, don't go and tell them, I need a job. No. Go and tell them, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Badili Africa. Do you think you have a space for me in your institution? Rather than for saying, let it not be about you. even if it's about you, don't show like it is about you. Do it for the other person. That reverse always works in my experience. Thank you very much.